Dependent Eligibility Verification Audit, 2019. What is DEVA? Dependent Eligibility Verification Audit. The state of Indiana periodically requires documentation to verify the eligibility of dependents enrolled on the state's medical, dental, and/or vision plans. A dependent means spouse, child, stepchild, or ward. The audit helps guarantee consistent application of eligibility requirements within our health plans. Ineligible dependents that use our health plans create higher costs for those that are eligible. How does this affect you? A letter will be mailed to you on April 19, 2019. You are expected to comply with the audit and send all documentation required. The audit is a condition of employment, and you can view the policy at the link provided. Response due date is May 15, 2019. Mailing. Included in your mailing: 1. Letter explaining the audit. 2. Affidavit to be signed, dated, and completed by you. 3. Required documentation page, which explains in detail what is required for your dependent or dependents. Affidavit. What do you need to do? 1. Sign and date the affidavit. Electronic signature is not accepted. 2. Check the eligibility box for each dependent listed. If your dependent is no longer eligible, write in the reason. An example, divorced. If they are divorced, send the divorce decree. Or example, child has turned 26. Send the birth certificate. If the relationship of a dependent is listed incorrectly, write in the correct relationship. 3. Gather all required documentation for all dependents listed. With the example of the affidavit in front of you, notice 1. You'll need to sign and date the affidavit. 2. Check the eligibility box for each dependent listed. And 3. If the dependent is no longer eligible, write in the reason and send supporting documentation. Some examples are provided. Example, reason ineligible, divorced. If divorced, send divorce decree. Example, reason ineligible, child turned 26. Send the birth certificate. Required documentation. For a spouse: copy of marriage certificate. This shows you are married. Copy of front page of the 2018 federal tax return, 1040 form, that lists your spouse. This shows you are still married. You may black out all financial information. Please leave the Social Security numbers visible. A spouse may be audited more than once to ensure continued eligibility. In this case, we would only be requesting the front page of the 2018 federal tax return filing as married. Required documentation. For child or children. For natural children, copy of birth certificate showing your name. If your last name is different on your child's birth certificate, we will need proof of your name change. For stepchild, copy of birth certificate showing spouse's name and documentation required for spouse. For a ward, court order with judge's signature and stating the child's date of birth. For disabled dependent, documentation above for child, copy of front page of the 2018 federal tax return showing the dependent listed. Send documentation. Complete the affidavit. Your response is due by May 15, 2019. Gather all required documents. Submit affidavit and copies of documentation by using one of the options below. Option 1. Email. You may email your documentation to deva@spd.in.gov. Please send by secure email only. Option 2. Fax. You may fax your documentation to 317-232-3011. Please include your PeopleSoft ID number on all faxes. Option 3. Mail. You may mail your documentation to Indiana State Personnel, Attention, Dependent Audit, 402 West Washington Street, Room W161, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46204. Please note, we may be auditing dependents not currently enrolled. If a dependent is not listed, it is because they were previously audited and no additional documentation is needed at this time. It is your responsibility to update a dependent's relationship and to remove ineligible dependents within a timely manner, even if it is beyond the 30-day qualifying event period, to minimize the recovery of claims. The audit is a condition of employment. All documentation is required. Misplaced documents. Marriage certificate. You may contact the local courthouse in which the event took place to request a copy. Birth certificate. You may order one through the Department of Health at the hyperlink in the presentation. If you need to order documents, please do so quickly and provide receipt of your order to show compliance. If you have not yet filed your 2018 federal tax return, you may provide a copy of the 2018 tax extension. If you have any questions, please contact the Benefits Hotline. The Benefits Hotline is available from 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., closed state holidays. We are available at toll-free 877-248-0007 or locally in Indianapolis at 317-232-1167. You may also email at deva@spd.in.gov.